Good morning. How's everyone doing out there this morning? How you getting by with social distancing and self-quarantining? All right, I'm going to give some people time to jump on here before we get started on today's topic. So if you are tuning in, please drop me a comment and let me know what you're doing on this Saturday now that the coronavirus has affected our lives this way. Good morning, Robin. Hey, Dusty. Thanks for coming on. Hey, Sherry. So I'm just kind of rambling here for a couple of seconds to let some people hop on here before I go into the topic about the real estate market. Good morning, Kim. Good to see you yesterday. All right, so if you are tuning in, just drop me a comment. Let me know what you're doing on this Saturday. A lot of people would normally be taking their kids to practice, taking their kids to ball games, running around doing your normal shopping, doing this, doing that. Can't really be doing a lot of that stuff right now. So I've ran into several people that I know this week, or I have been talking to them through a text message. And invariably, the conversation has become, so how's this affected your business? You know, what's going on in real estate right now? So I just kind of wanted to hop on here this morning for a brief amount of time and share with you what's going on in real estate. I'm not going to be that person that gets on here and says, hey, it's still a great time to buy or sell, because I just think that's pretty fake right now. Things are definitely changing. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of confusion in the world. So I'm looking to try and be a resource for you. So what I can tell you about the real estate market is last week in Hamlin and Jefferson County, there were 50 homes that got put on the market in that 7-day time span. Of those 50 homes, 18 of those have already went under contract. Okay. So homes are still being sold. Homes are still getting listed. Homes are still being sold. Now, I think the true test of how this is affecting our market will come with next week's numbers. So, stay tuned for next week's numbers. I'll do another live next Saturday just to update everybody. There is a lot of fear and confusion right now. And I can tell you that personally, I've not had a ton of showings this week where I have had the buyers to go out and show. But even on my listings, I've seen a decrease in the number of showings that those listings are getting. So people are concerned. People are cautious. People are trying to practice social distancing, which is a concept we probably had never heard of 3 weeks ago. As an agent, we are taking precautions, and each agent's going to it's going to be their own discretion as to what they're doing. Personally, in my business, I do have a box of gloves. If I'm doing a buyer showing, then I put my gloves on when I get out of the vehicle before I access the lockbox. So I open the lockbox, I get the key, I unlock the door, and I tell my buyers at the door, if you want a door opened, if you want a light switch turned on, whatever the case may be, let me know. Let me handle that. You all try to not handle anything. Don't touch anything. And, that's not labeling a house as being contaminated. It's just trying to be safe and practice good hygiene at this point and just minimize human contact inside the house. So those are some of the things that I'm doing. And then once we get done with that showing, I put the key back in the lockbox and I take my gloves off before I ever touch my car door to get back in it. So that's something that I'm doing. On my listings that I have that are homes, I have emailed out to all the sellers this week and offered to pay for a 3D virtual tour of their home. And that would kind of minimize the showings. You can send them this 3D virtual tour link, and that would be like a first showing for them. If they like what they see and they want to schedule an in-person showing, then we could go from there, to look at the house. But, I've got some sellers that are in their 80s, and, we had a showing on their house this week, and my question to them wasn't, is it okay to show the house? It was, do you really want to show your house right now with the coronavirus being what it is? And they were open to showing it. So, I went over precautions with them of as soon as those people leave, you need to get your Lysol out. You need to sanitize that place. And again, it's not to stigmatize the buyer. It's just to try to minimize chance of exposure. So that's kind of where we're at. Title companies are still open. Most of them have a locked door policy right now where you can't just walk into their office. Closings are now limited to only the parties in the transaction. So the actual buyer, the actual seller, realtor, and loan officer. So if you're a non-party to the transaction and you had just come along, they're not letting kids come into closings. They ask that those people stay in their vehicles. So I think most of the mortgage companies in town, if they are there in their office, they do have the door locked. They are trying to minimize, obviously, human contact. And so they're trying to do more online applications, use email and fax to receive documentation. Of course, with technology being what it is today, we do have the ability for them to work remotely from home. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. But I just wanted to kind of hop on here and let you know where things are at. Now, I think that once all this, blows over, be it a month, be it 2 months, whatever, I think you're going to see a strong rebound in the housing market. People still have to buy and sell. Even when we had the big recession back in 2008, people still get jobs that they have to move for. People still have babies. People are downsizing because their kids have graduated. So real estate's one of those things that people are always going to have a need to buy and sell. It's just the demand may waver from time to time. So right now, we're not seeing a huge hit. I think next week's numbers will tell a better story for us of how we're being affected by it, especially now that we've had 2 confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in Hamlin County. I had a couple that I had scheduled for a month to come in and look at lots last week. And I just knew they were going to cancel and be like, yeah, we're not coming down. But they came in and they're actually making a purchase. So I've had 2 homes go under contract last week. I had a couple of closings. So things are still moving right now. But like I said, I'm not going to be the fake person that gets on here and says, yeah, it's still a great time to buy or sell. You've got to do what you feel comfortable doing. I would say that, if you had thought about selling in 2020, take this social distancing time where we're not getting out of our homes as much and, start working on those weekend projects to get the home ready to sell so that when, this blows through and we are able to kind of get back to a normal, you'll be ready to move. You'll be ready to get your home on the market. So, like I said, I do want to be a resource for you. So if you have questions about listing your home and, wanting to know kind of where you're at as far as value goes, let me know. There's a few things that I can do to help you out. If you have projects that you need done around your house, I can recommend service providers to you and help you to get those home improvement projects done. I can help you connect with a lender so that you can see if refinancing is going to be a thing you want to do right now. If there is a threat that you may lose your job for a period of time, you may want to do a home equity line of credit, or you may want to do a debt consolidation loan and use some of that equity in your house to tide you through these times. And if that's the case, you need to do it now before you actually lose your job, because they are going to want to see proof of income and proof of employment. So those are things that you need to think about. Interest rates are all over the map right now. Over last weekend, the Fed cut the Fed rate, which is the rate that banks loan money to each other. Doesn't primarily affect a mortgage rate. Mortgage rates are affected by the bond market, the stock market, several other factors. And with everything going on right now, that market is crazy. So, you heard that rates had dropped to like 2.875 for a 30-year fixed. They're not at that right now. They're a lot higher than that right now. So if you've thought about doing a refinance, I would encourage you to go ahead and speak with a loan officer and make that application, and then give them authority. Okay, if the rate becomes a certain number, go ahead and lock me in, so that way you're guaranteed to get the rate that you need for it to make sense for you to refinance. So anyway, if there's other real estate things that I can help you with, please reach out and let me know. I appreciate all y'all tuning in and watching. Nikki's working from home. Nikki works for Rural First, which is a division of Farm Credit Services. So y'all know I do a lot of lots and land. So Nikki is definitely a resource for me in that she does provide financing for those. So, and Nikki has a little baby. I guess she's about a year old now, isn't she, Nikki? And so she is definitely working from home because you don't want to be bringing that home to your baby. But thanks to everybody else for tuning in. If you have questions, leave a comment. Let me know what you're doing to try to pass the time. I sent out an email to most of my database this past week about 10 things you can do while social distancing. And, it is a scary time, but I think there's a lot of things that are good and positive that are coming from this. We have a whole new respect for the elderly. And, we're trying to push to make sure that the elderly are taken care of, that they have times to shop without being worried about the crowds and worrying about their exposure. We see people who are offering to go through the drive-through for truck drivers, and the appreciation for the truck driving industry is at an all-time high, I think, because we know that those truckers are the ones that are bringing the supplies in, like the toilet paper and the Lysol and all that great stuff that we're having a hard time finding right now. So, it's probably a new experience for most people to be at home with their kids all the time because, like I said, a lot of times you're running out, doing this, doing that, running to ball practice, whatever it may be. So I would challenge you as a family, take advantage of this time that you're not caught up in a busy schedule, that you're actually being able to spend time together. Teach your kids how to cook, play board games, teach them how to play cards, read a book together. There's a lot of things that you can do as a family that, we always think sounds nice. Oh, I would love to do that, but we just don't have the time. Now you have the time, okay? And it kind of reminds me of that little meme where it says, did you ever wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't go back to sleep? Sometimes that's God's way of saying, hey, we've got time to talk right now. So, just use the time that you have with your family because you never know when they're going to leave, when they're going to be gone. And I'm lucky that I have not experienced anybody that I'm related to or anybody that I know personally having this coronavirus. And I'm continuing to work. So you can tell from the video here that I am at my office. I am prepared that if, we get quarantined, I can work from home. So that's not a big deal. I'm just a lot more productive when I go to the office. So if you have any questions, if you want to know what your home's worth, if you want to know things that you can do to make your home worth more when it does come time for you to sell, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. And again, I will be coming back on live next Saturday to update you with the numbers at that time. Have a great day. See you next week. Thanks.